Welcome to Get Uplifted 2020. My name is Nicole. I am so excited to bring on my girl, Victoria. We're going to be talking about all things wellness, spirituality, the Chopra Center, meditation, creating strong morning routines, figuring out your life purpose, and so much more. I'm so excited to have this conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it.
So ayurveda, it's a consciousness-based system of healing. I couldn't even freaking pronounce it when I learned about it, but I was so guided to get certified in perfect health, right? Now, looking back at my spiritual journey, I'm like, okay, this is why, because it's the OG of everything. Ayurveda actually breaks down as the science of life. But what I found was when you get, right, a book with all of the answers, right? How to take care of yourself, morning routine, all of these different Vedic tools, right, that are so powerful. Meditation, right? Different kinds of meditation, different kinds of yoga, right? Kundalini, EFT, right? Emotional freedom tapping, Reiki, integrative energy therapy, right? All of these beautiful modalities, right? But there's no cookie cutter method, right, to happiness. Everybody's path is different. So we're all born with this unique mind-body constitution, which is known as our Prakriti. And that's what I go over with people in here. But what I've found, what I've developed in 21 Days of Living Even Better, is the most potent system is going to be every morning, right? Just training yourself. And if you start doing it at night, right, that is awesome, because that's how I started. And my method is some is better than none, right?
Yes.
A little bit is better than doing nothing at all, right? So even if you wake up and you try to meditate against your will just for a minute before you pick up your phone, even that 1 minute is going to start to create new neural pathways in your brain. And what you're doing, you're not just meditating, trying to, get into this silence, because our thoughts are never going to turn off, right? I used to think we have to turn our thoughts off. What happens is there's a thought, another thought. There's always going to be thoughts. The meditation happens in between the thoughts, right? It's super intimidating, or at least it was for me, right? To be like, and I'm going to start my meditation routine. And Ayurveda says 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night. And yes, right? The next day rolls around, you pick up your phone, you're scrolling through. But what I found works is if you can say just for today, right? And then we build up to 21 days. Just for today, right? How do I want to feel today? And just start setting the intention. Start just with this simple thank you, right? Start just with gratitude and see how that, right, starts to change your day, right? Just starting to notice, okay, when I'm not feeling good, what if I just bring it back to gratitude? And then you're going to feel good. Kind of like if you don't like green juices, but you drink it and you feel good, you're like, I didn't like that. Maybe I want a little more, right? Because you start to realize that this thing is the solution. So I never was into moving my body or meditation, and definitely not eating healthy or doing a cleanse, right? Like I just did. But why I do it is because we want to remove ama. Ama is toxicity in the body. And when our gut fire, our Agni isn't strong, right? Sometimes there can be an accumulation. And if we don't feel our feelings, if you're a New Yorker, I'm a New Yorker, right? If you're Italian, right? People, no matter what you are, you may have grown up, right, with that belief system. And I point to, the subconscious brain, that auto programming. And what this morning routine, what gratitude and what a meditation and a Vedic practice helps you do is it helps to deprogram this subconscious, the old patterns that you're just on kind of autopilot. And when we stop, right, and we start to slow down and we start to access what's known as the gap, right, or Deepak Chopra refers to it as the gap in between those thoughts, that's where the pure potential energy is, right? So everything is energy, everything has a vibration. And meditation, spending time in nature, and practicing non-judgment are three of the best ways to tap in and access that law of pure potential energy. And that's when you start to alleviate the stress, right? And why we want to do it is because it's preventative, right? So not only are you, I love pranayama and breathing exercises because they're great when you're feeling, oh, I'm not feeling so good. Oh, wait, life's not supposed to be this way. I used to think chronic anxiety was, I was going to live that way the rest of my life. And it doesn't have to be that way. at all, right? And it's just that willingness. So even if someone's at their absolute bottom, right? If you're on all medications and you can't, you're like, you've accepted it and all, that's cool. And I'm all about medications and people using what they need. But for me, myself, I knew I didn't want to be on medication forever, right? And I knew that maybe there had to be another way. So it's all about finding your flow, finding your balance and what you need to feel good, and what feels good and what you need and the tools that you need, right? That I call it a spiritual prescription in this moment for your particular, in this moment, it's known as a vikruti. So you're born with a prakruti, which is your natural constitution. And then as life experiences, or as I like to say, soul assignments, right? We have these soul plans, right? Of these lessons that we came here to learn. And when we show up for these, right? And we practice that non-judgment, we alleviate this heavy energy residue that we don't even realize is often trapped in our body. And why, as I grew up stuffing those feelings under the surface, right? Stuffing all of those emotions down. You don't want to do that, because that is what causes that anxiety. That is what causes physical ailments, right? To accumulate. And so what's helpful with anxiety, right, is to just open up to the idea that it's not a bad thing, that it's a good thing, that anxiety is actually just a barometer to help show you when something, isn't going the right way, when maybe your thought pattern isn't exactly right, because life is supposed to feel good. Life is supposed to flow and just effortlessly fall into place. And I used to be like, that's effing bullshit. Like, this is
it's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. Like, I'd be like mad if that, like, literally, like, I would laugh at it. Like, I'd be like, you want me to eliminate my anxiety by changing my thoughts? Like, what are you on? Like, what is that? So, but when I was like, what do I have to lose? Right. And I had already, I knew miracles were real, because my obsession to drink was completely removed from me. And I knew that I was supposed to teach people how to access this place of peace, this freedom, this higher state of happiness that I thought was completely impossible. I thought that I would never feel happiness. I used to just pray to know happiness for even a minute. So I thank God every day when I wake up and I feel good and I feel happy and I'm able to see the infinite possibilities for my life. So that's what a Vedic practice helps you do. It helps you tap into, your higher self. And if you don't know what that means, it just means, right, that however you feel right now, there are even, more levels for you to receive. You get there by remembering that you have everything you need right now, that there's so much to be grateful for right now. And when we're able to stop maybe blaming external things and just feel the feelings of the shitty things of 2020, like, it sucked. Like, let's just
heavy.
Fucking sucked, right? Like let's let out those feelings. Like, that's what I do in my Ayurvedic alchemy meditations. And when we transmute those emotions, right, your actual frequency on a cellular level changes. Everything is energy. I always say, look at like the little Siri icon on your phone. It's like that ever moving matrix of energy. Yes.
Yeah.
And every cell in your body is always ever changing, right? Like, everything is, and it's all influenced, right? The law of intention and attention, right? By where you're putting the attention and the energy, and then your intention behind that focused energy. So anyway, to sum it all up, right? If you're like, how do I practice this on an everyday basis, right? Fear and love. There's always going to be two states, right? And so just ask yourself, place one hand over your heart, one hand over your belly, take a deep inhale, exhale out, right? And just ask, how am I feeling right now? What's working in my life? What's not working? What do I want? How do I feel? How do I want to feel? And then just taking a little body scan and just breathing in, maybe starting to envision a beautiful divine white light from above, just shining down over your physical body, into your heart, and just taking a deep inhale, exhaling out with a sigh, just letting go, and just remembering that you can always access this place inside that feels good. And just opening your eyes. How did that feel? That felt good, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's when you know, right, to take action. And when something doesn't feel good, that's when you're in fear. So we're either in fear, right, in contraction, or we're in love, right? We are on the higher vibration scale. I wish I had I do have my Next Level Happy workbook here, but it's the Abraham Hicks is a great source, the emotional vibrational scale. Where is it? Here it is. And you can look this up online. It's also at nextlevelhappy.com. But it's, often we don't realize that we're on this lower vibration down here of fear, grief, depression, despair, jealousy, anger, blame, worry, doubt. So when you just start to notice, oh my gosh, like what are these thoughts going on? Okay, I'm constantly worried about this. All right, this would be on this frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Where do I want to be? I want to be up here with joy, appreciation, because this is when your desire is about to manifest. This is when, the matches start to show up. This is when you cultivate even more of that joy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just start to think, right? We all have these energetic bodies. They can be measured. There's so much science on this, how gratitude even boosts the immune system, right? And when you go into joy and appreciation and gratitude, right? And Tony Robbins says this a lot. It's impossible at the same time, right? So start there. That's where I started a lot, was just with gratitude. Okay, well, if I move into gratitude, I won't be able to feel this lower feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you start to just eliminate lower vibration thoughts. You start to plug into new possibilities. Ask yourself, well, how could this work out even better than expected? What would this look like if the universe just completely blew my mind with this, right? Like, what would that feel like? And start to just open up to that. And maybe at first, right? Like if you affirm, money comes to me, all of the time, right? With grace and ease, but you don't feel it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, if you say, I fully and completely, right? Tapping on your heart center, love and accept myself, right? You keep saying it until you feel it. And what happens is eventually it starts to imprint a new belief, and we manifest from that belief system, from what we actually believe is true, from what we're imprinting into our aura every day, right? So when you meditate, or if you start in gratitude, you immediately set yourself up for success, right? And the really cool thing that I've discovered, putting my practice first and having that discipline to really train myself, okay, if I stop and do gratitude and journal, right? And do my spiritual prescription and do my little meditation, right? Before I do the next thing, all of my to-do list, right, will get effortlessly done. So that's what we go over in my 21 Days of Living Even Better program too, because it's, we feel like we have to do it all, right? And when we start to rely on a greater power and the laws of the universe, and we realize, right, that as real as this angel card deck in front of me is going to, fall if I drop it, right? That's the law. It's the law of gravity, right? Just as real as the law of gravity, the law of attraction, the law of intention and desire. There's, the 7 spiritual laws of success by Deepak Chopra. So good. But I love it because it's based on science. And that's why I love Ayurveda. It's the OG of everything. Chinese medicine was based off of it, right? Because I was like, I know that energy healing is real and that all of this is so real. And I'm a medium and I love channeling for people and channeling people's soul plans, right? And removing energy blocks. But I myself needed more because I had such a challenging soul plan that now I'm so grateful for, because I'm able to see that the hard things that made me want to give up on life, right, and really challenged me were the exact things, right, and I could cry, that led me to live my best life path today, that gave me, this freedom that I, at one point never knew was possible. So that's why I'm forever dedicated to just sharing this with whoever needs it, because I used to think that this was completely impossible. And if I received a miracle, and my miracle story is that I tried for a year to stop drinking on my own. I went to a medium myself before I, knew that I was a medium, and we all have the ability, right, to tap into our clairs, right? Clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognitive, clairaudience, right? to tap in and receive this higher conscious energy. And that's what happens in meditation. And why maybe you would be interested in that is because you don't have to think of it as tapping in, right? And being psychic or tapping into these, superhuman abilities, but it's more just that there's a greater source that wants to help you, right? Your soul made you a plan. And when you slow down and you tap into this higher consciousness, right, you're going to receive those intuitive ideas that you need. And you don't have to be like, oh, I clairaudiently like receive this. Like, it could just come as an epiphany, right? Or, you're driving, you're like, oh, that's the solution, or that's the idea. And the meditation is kind of like that gateway that weeds out the thoughts, right? Those turbulent thoughts. And if you're like, I'll never be able to do it, you will. I used to not be able to even lay in a savasana in yoga class in college because my thoughts were so turbulent, and I literally got an incomplete in yoga because I hated laying in savasana because my thoughts were so turbulent. So I, thought meditation was impossible was like an understatement. Like, it's a sheer miracle that I meditate. And then the miracle experience was after a year of trying to not drink on my own, because this medium, the psychic, was like, you have a drinking problem. I was like, you don't know what you're talking about, and I'm gonna like show you what's up. And for an entire year, I couldn't do it. I could not pick up alcohol. And I was like, okay, maybe he was onto something. And then New Year's Eve, it wasn't a resolution. It was 2013, after there was like a huge energy shift in like 2011, 2012. Mm-hmm. And I woke up and I just received these downloads of making my soul plan, and my obsession to drink was completely removed. And that's how I knew miracles were real. And when all of a sudden that next day, after not like having like drank for so long, like having not been able to do that on my own, having it just completely removed and like not wanting it, I'm like, something's effing going on. Like, what is this? So I called somebody I knew who had, like, was like a crazier, I thought, judgment partier than me. And she had stopped drinking. So I was like, what did you do? Like, what's possible here? And I was willing. So why I share this is because whatever it is that you want for your life, all it takes is a willingness. Okay. No matter where you are, you could be living, maybe you're in your happily ever after right now, or as I like to say, your next level happily ever after. But just ask yourself, like, what am I grateful for? And know that the universe, right, wants to give you even more, that it gets to be even better, right? So what would that look like for you? What would that feel like for you? And just start to open up to that. And if you're like me, maybe, where you're just completely like on your bottom, where you want to give up and like you can't see the light, you don't want to hear how the universe has your back, right? Like, I get it. Just be willing. And I promise you that's all you need, because I'm not an exception like to it. And if I can receive a miracle, the entire world gets to receive a miracle. And so you will get it. Like, just keep staying like willing for it. And the universe, I promise you, it wants to give you what you want. It's just getting rid of those lower vibrational thoughts that we think are real because we've been believing them our entire life. But when we start to open up to new ideas, to higher consciousness, you're going to start to see a new reality. As Dr. Wayne Dyer says, and that's another great source for manifesting, Dr. Wayne Dyer, that I love, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And it's, I cry tears of gratitude because I just can't believe, right, that my current reality is, even in 2020, right? Even with all the, the shit that's happened, that we've been through, like, wow, like, I used to not want to live, right? Like, I used to want to quit life. And today I live a life beyond my wildest dreams. And it's because I developed, right, this self-reflective process with myself. So whatever it is for you, it may not look like what mine does, right? I prescribe different spiritual prescriptions for people, but just start somewhere. Just start with the gratitude, start with a little journaling, and let the universe start to change your life. And all of this was literally an experiment. I had gotten out of I walk away from whatever is no longer serving you. That's when shit got really good for me. I left a really bad, abusive relationship. And when I was so scared of right? Like starting over. And, I literally knew that was my mindset, was kind of like, you know what, if I want to give up anyway, if I'm feeling like, what do I have to lose? So the universe saved my life, put in my path the book, The Secret, put in my path Deepak, I have it right in front of me, seven spiritual laws of success, and it put it in front of me through Oprah, right? Like, I think I was like, had Oprah on one day, I watched The Housewives, and I'm like, what does she say? And I just started to hear Deepak talk about the universe, and I started to just be open to a new possibility. I read the book, The Secret, and I was like, you know what if before I give up completely, like, what if I try this and it works? What if I try, literally, Noelle, those were my exact words. I could cry. I said, what if I just tried one more time? And it worked. Yeah.
I think that is just like giving me all the goosebumps, because it's like you have this decision. It's like, just try, just show up for yourself. Try one more time. We need you in this world. Everyone is needed in this world, and this right. we need you all.
And your story, right? Like, everybody's path is different, and we are all here at this time on earth for a specific reason. So if you're like, oh, like if you want to teach meditation or manifesting, you're like, oh, everyone is doing that. Or maybe you're like, I don't know what that is. That's so weird. It's going to be so weird for me to do that. No, like, you have to trust that feeling and know that there's so many people in this world that need you to feel good, that need you to step into your light right now. And that's how you can be of service, truly.
Yes. I love that. And I do have some friends who are saying that they're new to meditating and they feel weird because they're the only ones in their family group or friend group that are doing it. Do you have any advice for, like, something for them to just keep doing it? Who cares what other people are doing or thinking?
Exactly. And sometimes that's easier said than done. And what I'm going to tell you is that you're not going to care, because how you feel about your practice and what is true. Here's my advice. It's rest in defenselessness, right? Like, we can't convince, and like, you don't have to talk about what you're doing, but what's going to happen is people are going to start to feel it, and people are going to see the shift in you, and they're going to want what you have. So you don't have to really like push what you're doing on them, or, talk about it, or help them understand. You just have to fully love and accept where you're at with it, and then call in what I did when I realized, I'm a medium, my family doesn't, even know what that is, like, what's going on. I called in friends, and like, the universe aligned me with beautiful souls like yourself. I wrote in my journal, like, please send me awesome, fun, light worker friends, like people who, are of higher consciousness. And how cool that we're, opening in the Aquarius age right now. And more people are waking up. So what happens is you become a vibrational match for the people that you need in your life. And that's what's happening right now, that a lot of people don't realize. And we're getting frustrated and kind of getting stuck in these lower vibrations for a good reason, because it's like, it's normal to be pissed off. Like, if it feels like shit's not going your way, feel the feels. But then I really encourage you, even if you're like, how could the universe be fucking helping me by this happening or that? I promise you, like, trust that the universe is moving the pieces around to give you what you want, to align you with your best life path. And if you're like, how does it know what I want? Right? It always knows your best life path, but you get to say, through the law of free will, to call in. So that's why, right? Get the book, The Secret, right? And I would really just encourage you to, just experience, right, your practice, and you will attract in, right, the people that you need.
Yes, I love that. That's so amazing.
And now my mom meditates, like, literally, like, it's crazy. Like 5 years ago, like, I literally, like, was nervous to even, like, tell my mom that I was pursuing my purpose full time, and, and all this stuff. And literally, and I prayed for a miracle for her. She, like, stopped drinking. She started meditating. I'm like, oh my God, like, miracles are real, like, for my mom to meditate. Like, I literally found her schedule. She uses one of the apps, right? So there's so many of those apps. I always say, trust what you feel guided to, right? Like, I think I spoke to you, Headspace. When I first started years ago, I used Headspace, and Headspace really worked for me because they kind of explain meditation the way Deepak does, Deepak Chopra, with, like, you're not supposed to turn the thoughts off. It's okay. Just let them go like clouds.
Like
and then
watching them. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And then you can bring it back to the mantras. You can use the mantras, so hum, so hum, so hum, right? Oh, well, my to-do, okay, so hum. So, and eventually the mind's going to give up. So there's only a few things that can happen during meditation. Either you're going to fall asleep, you just needed sleep. Either the mantra is going to change. That's okay. You're going to have completely turbulent thoughts. That's okay, because eventually the mind's going to give up. And then the other thing that can happen is you can slip into the gap. And the gap is when you're in that pure consciousness state and you don't know that you're in there until you're out of it. If you're like, am I in the gap? You're not in it because you're aware. Right.
Yeah.
So
it's so crazy. When I meditate, like I use Headspace, and I've used it since like 2015 or so. And it's something I really like because I could sit in silence if I need to, but I really love that he like navigates you through it a little bit and talks. And it's more like positive introspection before you jump into it. And I like that, but it's so crazy. I've been meditating. I'll do that. And then afterwards I meditate on everyone in my life. And I literally go through each person and like send them light and love and healing. And sometimes I'm like, I don't have time to do this. And then, but I never regret it when I do it. But after I do that and send light, love, and healing to the, I get the end is the world and I picture the world. It's so crazy, Victoria. I see this like big, it's like a green, I don't know. It changes color. Sometimes it's purple, sometimes it's green, sometimes it's blue. And it's this orb and it's just like glowing. And I'm just like, and I get out and I'm just like, good. But it's also because you're getting out of your head and sending something to other people and like not just thinking about you. It's like as soon as you start focusing on other people and just sending them take some time to send your mom and dad some love or someone you love or care about or someone who's struggling. Just think about them for a minute and just like really, really, truly like genuinely send them love. I mean, come on. That is like some healing in itself for real.
Yes, exactly. And that's another great shifter to come back to happiness, right? To come back to it because it's gratitude and service. Just ask, how can I be of service, right? Every day, A Course in Miracles, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say and to whom, right? And just get out of yourself, get into others. And the law of giving and receiving, you could always, bring a positive, genuine compliment, to someone and just, always bring your best self, always bring your love.
I love that. That's so beautiful. And it's so true. I mean, I just think, a lot of things get, lost in the shuffle. And I think getting back to simple practices of just one, waking up, being grateful that you're alive, you woke up, you're breathing. And then two, just, gratitude lists and just starting simple, because I think, like you said, so many people just jump on their phone right when they open their eyes. And honestly, I have a rule. I read the Bible app as soon as I wake up, if I do open my phone, and that's it. There's no other text, no Instagram, nothing until noon.
Let me ask you something. How long did it take you to do that? Because it's okay if it took me a while to get into the it
definitely did take a while. And I definitely noticed when I would cave and do it. And I would get through the day and be like, I feel terrible. I don't know why. I'm just I didn't feel sick, but I just felt heavy. And it was because I was opening my phone, looking for inspiration in the wrong places. And just going on Instagram and it's something on here is going to inspire me. And it never does. It always is just more harmful. Yes, I love seeing what all my friends are doing, this and that. But there is if you don't take time to set your day and, my morning routine, I wake up, I read the Bible app on my phone. And that's the only thing that I check on my phone. But then after that, I read my Bible. I get real clear on the word. And I do, I don't have it here, but my happiness planner. And I get really clear on everything I'm happy and grateful for. And I just write that God has honestly been guiding me so and collaborating with me on this project and, just really setting this, stage and the standard of what you want from your day. Do not go on Instagram or social media to let that dictate and pull you through your day. You are stronger than that. You are here for a purpose. You are the reason that you are here. So, trust yourself. You don't have to look like your life, like someone else's life on Instagram.
If you're on Instagram and you're seeing, and if you're feeling you know, sometimes we don't realize that we're comparing, right? But it's human nature. So if you see people, right, like for me, for instance, I'm seeing like last night I saw family in Hawaii, you know, and like it make like, you know, did I make the wrong choice? Should I have gone to Hawaii before they, you know, quarantined again? Or, you know, like you can start to compare, or body things like their, you know, relationship, you know, I'm not in a relationship. So what I want to share is when you see somebody who has what you want, or something like that, it's the universe showing you that it's possible. And when you start to see things from that new perspective, it brings in so many shifts. And then also clean up the social media feed, because like Noelle was saying, I've realized that the biggest vision boards, right? Like if you're aware of manifesting, or if you've heard of the vision board, the biggest vision boards are our social media feeds, because it's everything. Ayurveda teaches whatever we consume is creating our reality, right? Yeah. So whatever you're thinking and consuming all day, right? So are you in judgment and comparison and feelings of lack, right? That constricted fear, or are you in expansion and gratitude and in those infinite possibilities? Yes. And I love that you shared that you felt that difference from not going right on the phone right away. And I felt that so strongly too. And that's why I hold myself so accountable to my morning routine. And that's why I didn't want to do this like at first, because I literally wanted to just like recharge more, because what I preach is that it's so important for your energy, right? To be recharged, to feel good. Because when you stop to put that oxygen mask on in the morning first, before you scroll, right? You're going to be able to scroll and not be affected.
Seriously.
By what
yeah, back to the thing of you saying that you didn't want to do this because you weren't feeling ready. And like, I just had this talk with someone. I was on a podcast and I was like, I'm not myself, and I'm not this, and I'm not that, and I don't want to show up, because if I'm not 100, I don't want to show up. But here's the thing. The universe works in weird ways. And even if you don't feel like showing up and you show up, I think that you will get even more than you have even planned on even saying, receiving.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like whatever, like as we started talking, I felt spirit kind of speaking through me. And I'm like, it's a, you know, and then my ego, you know, pops in. I'm like, oh, I wish I, you know, got pretty for this. And it's like, it's okay.
You're gorgeous, girl. Stop it. No.
So and this is for whoever's viewing this, right?
Yes.
If you're listening in, if you catch yourself, like, that's what I say, you know what, please remove my ego and let me do the work at hand, and just tapping into that higher place of service, because that's all that matters.
That's all that matters, honestly. And so it's like, just like she said, it's like, if you don't feel like showing up, just take one little step, see where it leads. You know what I mean? Just keep showing up for yourself, showing up for others. And if you do get in your head too much, like we all do, I literally tell myself every time I'm filming for this and I start thinking of like all the things, I say, this isn't about me. This is about the people I'm serving. This is about helping others. I'm taking myself out of this. Yes, I do my hair and makeup and I get dressed because it makes me feel good. And I'm like, you know, ready for the day, and it's something to look forward to. But I'm generally just doing this just to help everybody. And hopefully that people can take away some tips, tools, things they didn't know about. I mean, I learned so much through you. I had no idea about, you know, Ayurveda and all of the amazing things that it has to offer. And I did want to ask you a little bit about, can you talk to us about, being like studying under Deepak Chopra's school and everything?
Yeah. So why I went to, now it's not called the Chopra Center, although they are opening a new location when everything like settles down in Arizona, which I'm excited about.
Oh, nice.
But how it happened was when I started receiving, right, these downloads of making my soul plan, and I was having, you know, psychic experiences. And why that happened is because my vibration raised. When I did the healing work, I did step work in a 12-step program, which is removing those resentments, all of these really lower vibrations, that it's called ama, an accumulation of ama. I didn't know that. Anyway, so I was receiving these downloads, and I would go to, you know, I went to Pat Longo, who's the Long Island mediums mentor, you know, all these people. Anna Miranda is a great source on Long Island. I would go to these, you know, people who had great experience, but there was always trust the feeling inside of you. So there was this feeling inside of me, right? I was still developing my clairaudience, where I knew that I was supposed to bring the the feelings that I had discovered and the freedom, right, from step work outside of the rooms. Because I was like, well, I'm like, the fact that I even did step work is a sheer miracle. I'm like, there's so many people who need what I experienced who maybe don't need to necessarily stop drinking, right? So I'm like, how, and so I got on my knees, I prayed, and I said, if I'm supposed to bring this into the world, show me how. So within 3 days of that prayer, so this is a good story because what the universe, I promise you, will answer you. I just was like, I'm going to throw it out there, like if I'm
see what happens. Why not?
Within 3 days, a friend that I don't even really speak to that often texted me about a stray. Nothing is like so random is what I'm trying to explain. It was a thing about a stray dog. Anyway, it led me to this website, and I go to danielleposa.com, and she's awesome. She survived cancer at a young age, and she's an advisor to Deepak. And I knew that she was my mentor. I was like, I literally, she had just put the site up. She's like, how'd you find me? I literally just made my site live. I'm like,
stop it.
Yeah. I'm like, you're supposed to be my mentor. I'm like, what's happening to me? I'm like, what? Like literally, I'm like, what's happening to me? What are these experiences? Because I wanted more proof, which you don't need. So I really want to just affirm that you can just trust, right? Like the spirit and what you're receiving and energy. But I myself knew to teach this to people, that there were going to be skeptical people like I was who wanted more. So that's what led me to Deepak and the Chopra Center was I wanted more. I wanted to know the science, and I wanted to know what was truly happening to me, right? And so when I went there, I was working in fundraising, and I wasn't happy. And so if you're not happy in your job, right? Like a lot of people lost their jobs with COVID. I promise you, it's the universe moving shit around for you to step into your purpose in even bigger ways. Do not be afraid to pivot. Do not be afraid. I'm like, it's not letting go, it's letting in. Like that's truly what is going on right now. Like it truly is. And the universe, right, will push you out, right? I quit my job in fundraising to pursue this. I was like, okay, I looked up Oprah, I saw like Gabby Bernstein and Deepak, and I was like, all right, I'm like, to do perfect health, what are the requirements, right? And there was a retreat in Maui, and my soul was like, you are supposed to be there. And I took a leap of faith, and I resigned, and I was just like, when does it ever make sense? I had to figure out, I thought, am I losing my mind? What are these, experiences I'm having? How can I help people with it? So there was this passion and fire ignited inside of me that I knew I was supposed to figure out how to teach this to other people, how to help other people access that. And how cool that that's what my Soul Boot Camp program is. And that's what 21 Days of Living Even Better is it helps you tap in to your dharma, to your purpose, to your higher self, and then bring those ideas to life wherever you are.
Oh, I love that. That's so powerful. And I think that so many people, I think even like, with myself in 2020, it's like you hold on to what you know, and we're all just kind of in survival mode. But I feel like if you just start like letting go a little bit more, as you say, surrender, and then surrender more. And it's so crazy to see where life will direct you. And I just think that's a beautiful thing, just because I feel like a lot of us are just holding on as tight as we can because this is all we know and we can't do anything else. And you just let it go.
Even if you keep one foot where you are and take action, right? So, Noelle, you said earlier, right? Take that action seriously, because what happens, so like how you took action and you're doing uplifted, right? You're going to receive more from this, because the universe is always, when you ask for something, the universe is programmed like a computer to be like, boom, here you go, right? And you're either rejecting it, those energy blocks, or receiving it. You were like, I'm ready. We're doing this. I'm taking action because I'm ready to be of service. When you back your intention with service, the universe is like, boom, I'm going to meet you 1,000,000,000%. Like
literally that is proof. Like literally when I said yes, and I wrote it down, my happiness planner, I was like, digital event, we're doing it. And I wrote down literally the 7 people I wanted, and instantly, like I just wrote them down. And then I asked the first person, they said yes. And then it was like, started reaching out more. And the universe literally was like, whew, like, it was like, I don't even know what happened. And yes, it's not that it's hard. It is hard. It is hard work, but I'm fueled by this fire of like, there's something in me that I just know this is going to help so many people. And it just like takes over. It's like,
because you did it, you're gonna get like the next step. Like the universe is gonna show you, okay, now this is what's needed. Like here's another great idea that like you can take action on, because the universe wants to give it to people who are ready to do it. You know what I mean? And all you need is that willingness. That's it.
Yes. And just to listen to that, trust yourself, listen to the whispers that are going on in your heart, because a lot of us, we're always so busy, and now's the time that we're kind of all slowed down a little bit. Take that time, look inward. I mean, I know a lot of people don't want to, but you got to start looking in, because
Dr. David Simon, who founded the original Chopra Center with Deepak, he has a great book that's called Free to Heal, Free to Love. And what I loved in that book, and if anyone is interested in energy healing, we're also doing that in the training program. But what he said is, it's literally, so like, this is what energy healing is. It's just shining the light, right? Like, so why I say energy healing is when you get Reiki done or energy healing, what's going to happen is you're going to be shown what's no longer working. So like the eclipses right now and what's going on with winter solstice is it's literally extracting from everybody what's no longer working. So it's literally like, let go or be dragged. And so what Dr. David Simon says is, don't be afraid of it, right? Like if you don't want to look at that anxiety, or if you are just constantly trying to numb it or shut it off, right? Show up for yourself without judgment, right? But then ask yourself how you truly want to feel. Know that you're worthy of feeling that way. And then it's just like shining a light, like a little kid, he says, that thinks there's a monster under the bed. You're so scared. You're like, oh my gosh, like it's definitely there, right? And then you shine the light and you're like, oh my gosh, it was never there at all. And that's what doing this work is. When you shine the light on it, it's like scary. There's resistance to it, right? But when you show up in, right, like the Ayurvedic alchemy meditation, or when you show up for yourself to let it go, you're going to feel so relieved, and you literally feel lighter. You feel it's more than an exhale. It's like a physical relief too. And it allows those possibilities to be more accessible, if that makes sense.
Totally. And, because it is easy to believe, like, and make up things in our mind of like these things, and you're scared to look at them because you're like, this is going to be terrible. But if you just look it in the face and face it, and you see that there was nothing even there, because guys, we are like storytellers in our mind, and the mind is chatting all the time. And, it's up to us to decide if we're going to, believe it, and also like look at it and see what it's saying and say, is that true? Is that true?
Right.
And, really question, because I mean, it is scary, but like you said, leaning into it and shining light on it.
And a fun thing to do with that, like, so Noelle just said, is this true? A fun exercise to do, a powerful one, is start saying no. Start shutting it down and being like, no, this thought is not effing true. And when you start doing that and you start flipping the script on it, magic starts to happen. So
tell us a little bit about everything that was with Maui.
Yes. Okay. So my passion for Maui and all of the Hawaiian Islands, and honestly, it's not just Hawaii, right? And Danielle Poza, my first mentor, she actually was the first person to tell me about this, that in the world, everything has frequencies. So different places on the earth, different countries have different vibrational frequencies. Excuse me. Mm-hmm. This is why I'm doing a cleanse, right? We're clearing everything
coming out, everything.
Just let it all come out.
I love it.
Go and let in, right? Everything.
Yep.
Show up for yourself without judgment.
Yes.
So Maui, I didn't know this at the time. I had no idea. I discovered this when I went there, just FYI. But the cool thing about Maui is it's the heart chakra of the world. I didn't know, but what I did know was when I was sitting in my desk as a development assistant for fundraising for a children's hospital. And that's also what led me to Deepak, was as much as I knew energy healing was real, I was working at doing fundraising for a children's hospital. And so I would be Cohen Children's Medical Center, which I love, on Long Island. And I, would go and I'd be walking through the HEMONC unit, and I would see these little babies who were like going through chemo treatments, right? And see their parent, and the kids would be smiling, like so happy because they didn't know, right? Like really like that they were sick. But the parents, right, who had the thoughts going on, who knew, right? They were going through their soul assignments with this journey. And I didn't feel comfortable telling people that you could live a life beyond your wildest dreams until I really understood you know, how these soul assignments worked and what I was seeing for people and how I was seeing people's best life paths. And then it was the free will choices that they would make, right? That determined, right, what would actually manifest in their life from the possibilities, right? That I was channeling for them, because I see people's best life paths and then I see the block, right? That's keeping them from accessing, right, the plan. And then what your soul came here to grow from, right? And to learn. So when I knew, I was like, all right, I'm not happy, I'm, you know, going to quit my job and go to Maui. So that's where Deepak, there were 2 requirements for my certification. I had to go through Journey into Healing. A lot of, now, if anyone's interested, let me know, because it's much easier. You can do it all online, but you had to physically go there. So I went all in. I was like, I know I'm supposed to do this. I'm like, this, my job was so toxic, right? And thank God the pandemic did that for a lot of people. It already moved you out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay. I'm like, there's this requirement in Maui. What do I have to lose, right? Like, I'm going to pursue what's happening to me, because I wanted to ask Deepak directly. And I got to, which was really freaking cool.
Really? Oh my gosh.
Yes, with 500 people, I manifested it, and I didn't really know that much about manifesting. I learned about manifesting more through, like, even though I have the book, The Secret, I learned hands-on through energy healing and through realizing that it was whatever people were believing, and it was the belief systems that, and the subconscious programming that people were actually manifesting from. And then there's different tools and like potent technologies, you know, that work for, that's the Vedic tools, right? Like what's going to work for you to then like remove that old subconscious programming. I didn't know any of this though. I acted on a whim, and I was just like, this is what my heart's saying. So always trust that besides the logic, right? And I quit my job. I flew to Maui, and I just fell in love. And here's why. And why I do my retreats there when we're able to travel again is because the aesthetics are important. There's so many elements to Ayurveda. And Maui, when you go there, you basically, without having to develop your own spiritual practice, start to embody your higher self. You like immediately remember your truth when you see like the majesticness of nature, and you just know, like, I am one with this. Like, there is so much more for me, and life is supposed to feel good. So when I went to Maui, and that's when I started to get more into meditation. They made me do Journey into Healing and Seduction of Spirit, which teaches you all of this like very in depth. And that was my Eat, Pray, Love journey where I quit. I hated meditation. I'm like in this room with like 500 people, like in Deepak, like, what am I doing? Right? Like,
yeah.
and I had no interest in Ayurveda or meditation. I just wanted to know, what are these soul plan assignments? How does it relate to energy healing? You know, am I losing my mind? Like literally that was my question. So I knew I couldn't ask Deepak in front of all these people. So I kind of set intention during the thing. I'm like, if I'm supposed to ask him, you know, it'll be like somehow, you know, I'll be able to. And that's manifesting. It's planting the seed, right? And then completely detaching from it, allowing it to happen in divine time. And the universe aligned it. I literally clairaudiently heard in my room, no coffee. So I'm like, fine, I'll go down early, whatever. And Deepak was alone walking in the hall, and I got to ask him, you know, this is what's happening. These are these soul plan just me and him. Like, these are these soul plan assignments. Like, you know, am I losing my mind? Am I supposed to pursue this? Is this going to help people? From your experience, what do you think? And he said, I believe the experience that you're having is real and you should pursue it. And he smiled ear to ear. And I knew he was writing something. And then he wrote MetaHuman. He has another book about meditation out now, which I'm sure is great, but it's finding your flow. Like, you may connect more with Wayne Dyer or Gabby Bernstein, right? Like, I connected with Gabby a lot. I don't really connect that much. I love Melissa Wood Health right now. Like, you just have to make your feeds filled with things that inspire you, with what's possible and people who make you feel good. And if something's triggering for you, remove it from your feed. Yep.
Get it out of there.
Get it out of there. And so Maui was it was like part of my soul's calling. And I take people there because it's the heart chakra of the world. So Maui really helped me energetically heal. The Hawaiian Islands themselves are like a chakra system. But why I didn't move to Maui is because a big part of my purpose was teaching people that we get to have that aloha experience, and we get to bring that Maui lifestyle right here in New York or wherever you are, and you can access it, right? I always say, okay, because I cry a lot missing Hawaii. I could cry again. And I always say it's in my heart. Like Haleakala, like I've learned how to always access it right here because that's what it gave me. You're gonna make me
I'm
cry.
sorry to make you cry, but it shows the power of just, of feeling so strong about something, but
Yeah.
learning how to to embody that and bring it here, because so many of us feel like, oh, if I go here, I'll be happy. Or if I look like this, I'll be happy. If I do this, I'll be happy. And
I didn't want to run away. And like, if I thought about moving there a lot, like, and so you can have anything, right? So my ideal situation is, I know that one day I'll have a home there too. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we have it all? We get to have it all. Right. So how cool. And I'll be able to vacation there soon too.
Exactly. And then you'll vacation, you'll be running your retreats there,
Yeah,
all the things. Exactly. So you can have both. And I think right now, like you said, you're learning how to bring that feeling and that whole embodiment of Hawaii to where people are right now.
Yes. And if you're listening and you're like, that sounds cool, like I want to do a retreat, please know that you will, because I had 8 months sober. So 8 months of knowing a miracle was real. Right. And I went to St. John's with my friend, and I just was in awe that I wasn't drinking, and I'm in this beautiful beach. And one of my friends online was in Hawaii. And instead of being like, oh, she's in Hawaii, I started to think, who am I to sit on this beautiful beach and want to go somewhere else beautiful? And I started to think, this job, like, it's not going to allow me to. All these limiting beliefs started to pop up. But when I went to, I just start following what feels good for you. That's all you have to do. Be willing and follow what feels good for you and develop a morning practice. I promise you that's the method. I literally became obsessed with figuring it out.
No, seriously, it's like just having a little bit of discipline to really just hold yourself accountable. You will literally change your whole life with just the way you decide to show up for your day. Seriously.
Like there's so many, there's so many different Ayurvedic tools, remedies, things you could do. You can take it, the food, like gut health is so important, so many things, but I promise, just start with the morning routine.
Oh my God, I love that so much, because it is something that I feel like a lot of people don't take time to do. And I think that if you just start small and simple and just, create some sort of, because that's something we all need right now, is some sort of routine. People are looking for routine. If you're looking for routine, start with yourself in the morning.
Yep, exactly.
This was so nice. This was so much fun. I'm so grateful to you. And I just want to say real quick. So I met Victoria randomly. I think I was leaving barber school or a job, and I signed up for a Gabby Bernstein event. What was the church? It was in the East Village. Was it the one that
was burnt down?
That's what I saw. I was like, oh my God. So it was that one. Yeah. So I literally left a job, and I went to go get out of the cab with all of my things. And as I'm walking up, Gabby Bernstein's in front of me, and I'm like, huh. And Victoria and her friends were there, and they were getting a picture. So I took the picture of her and Gabby Bernstein and her friends, and I was like, oh my God, okay. Oh, and so I hand them their phone, and then next thing I know, I'm in line with them, and they're like, come sit with us, you're by yourself. And Victoria and I and her friends, we were literally just, the vibe was so high. It was just I have goosebumps thinking about it, because it was just it was electric, and I'll never forget that night. And I remember leaving there just so grateful to meet you, and I just feel like everything was electric. And I feel like that, I remember it was December, and I have and it's I have the notebook that I was things are changing, I'm showing up differently, I'm taking control of my life. And I think that we all go through phases. So Victoria said, find something that works for you, a method, or Gabby Bernstein, or just who works for you. And, because our seasons change, and I got started in the whole manifesting and everything with Gabby Bernstein. And look, if I didn't start reading her books and The Universe Has Your Back and lean into that, I wouldn't have went to her event, which I would have never met Victoria. Right. And I would be talking on Get Uplifted, giving tools. Yes. It's just it's crazy. We said,
everything.
Yes, you just got to let go and just really just trust that you are being divinely guided. And
because those methods that she gave us, right? I did Spirit Junkie level 2 after that. And she gave us more, but it was basically the methods in that manifesting. I started to put them into motion way before she wrote Super Attractor, which is another great book if anyone wants to read. I like to say Super Attractor is like a manifesting 101 book. And then I love The Universe Has Your Back, because that book saved my life. Because the meat and potatoes of the work, right? Behind it. And what changed everything for me, why Gabby helped me so much with manifesting specifically, is because it helped me focus on feeling, the Abraham Hicks, right? How do I want to feel when I receive it? Because when I got my perfect health certification, I'm like, okay, I manifested this, right? But I wrote a blog on it. I had the most anxiety of my entire life because all these limiting beliefs, all these low vibrations came back. And I'm like, this isn't how I want to feel. I want to feel good. I want to feel peaceful. Like I want to feel so content, right? So focus on how you want to feel.
Choose to feel amazing. Choose to look for happiness. Choose, you are the person who chooses your thoughts. And, you got to do it for you.
And remember, I used to be the opposite of next level happy. I used to think all of this was bullshit and impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would watch Gabby and I'd be like, oh, okay, choose love. Like you don't know the anxiety I feel, right? Yeah. It works.
I love it. And that's so inspiring too, because but I mean, like we all have these bouts of anxiety. And I really think that this is inspiring that we can take it into our own hands to really focus on breath or, others or writing down things, and that it can change. It's not going to last forever. And you just have to take baby steps to get it out of your mind. Because I mean, it is scary because anxiety makes you feel like this is going to be forever. And, it's all this crazy chatter, but shut it down.
It's going to be forever. And I like to say the fear-based thoughts, the ego feels so real. It's going to feel so fucking real. And it's going to try its job, these lower vibrations, literally what they wanted. Once you're here and the worry, the blame, they're designed to keep you there. They're like, no, you can't feel good. Don't be your best self. You must stay down here. And it's just, I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to see this differently. I'm willing to see this through the eyes of love. I'm willing to show up for this soul assignment. And I promise you, if you are willing, the universe will start showing up for you in very major ways.
Real quick, how can people find you and follow you? And
yeah. So I don't think I even introduced myself because we just jumped in, but I'm Victoria Mann. I'm the manifesting medium. You can find me at nextlevelhappy.com, and on Instagram, it's at the manifesting medium. And I do free live angel card sessions every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you could feel free to reach out to me with any questions because I love talking about this. Like, there's no question too weird, too out there, or too, you could be like, what is meditation, right? Or like a mantra is the vehicle of the mind. Like, I never knew that. Like, whatever questions you have, I love talking about this. Please do not feel stuck. Do not stay stuck. It's literally my life purpose to help you feel good. So please reach out, let me know what you need, and we're going to make you feel really good.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Victoria, for being here. I really appreciate you spending your time and energy with us today and still showing up no matter, the circumstances. And I feel like there's power in that. And you are just such a light in this world. And I'm just so grateful for you.
Yes, I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.